Hello there, this is Jay from Jay Wanders Out. I got tagged in one of those backpacker threads or chains about luxury items that we take with us. I was tagged by Mary. Whoop, I was tagged by. Whoop, it's cold, windy. I was tagged by Mary Mansfield. Her channel is linked right there. She has a pretty great YouTube channel actually. She's wind. She'll be through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail this year, and she has a lot of videos about photography and minimalism as well as backpacking, so you should go check her out. So I will go for my 3 luxury items. So my first luxury item is my ultralight H1R Nova. It's a tiny little flashlight. It's rechargeable. It uses a RCR 123A battery, which I'll show you a picture of. And the flashlight's on the front, and there's a magnetic bottom. And what I really liked about it was it could hit turbo, up to 500 lumens. So even in the daytime when we saw a cave, I was able to hit turbo and you could still see everything in there. Whereas we tried our headlamps and 200 lumens just wasn't enough to light it up. And the other thing was you could put regular lithium batteries in here, and when extreme cold, the rechargeables will die quicker, but the regular lithiums will last longer. So I carried this flashlight with a regular lithium battery. Believe it or not, I carried an additional lithium battery with me. And I started doing that about maybe a third way through, but I never had to switch over, and I did night hike a few times. The benefit with the clip is you could just clip it somewhere. I don't know if you've ever night hiked with a flashlight not on your head, but when you have it elsewhere, it gives you a different shadow and you can kind of see the textures better. When it's right by your eye, the shadow is right behind the object and you can't see it, so you kind of can't see the shadows as well, so you can't make out footprints as well. So when it's lower, you can see everything a lot better. I do like that, and there's a good spread, and if I hear something, there's a turbo and it lights up the woods like you wouldn't believe. It's not like the 2000 lumen flashlights I have, but it's a tiny little thing. It's very light. I'll put the weight here because I don't know offhand how much it weighs. But I've carried this thing with me on several backpacking trips as well as the entire PCT, and I love this thing. The other benefit was with the magnetic bottom. You could just plop it onto your fuel canister because it's steel, and you can actually direct it and then turn it on moonlight mode, and it'll just reflect off the roof of your tent, and it just lights up everything really well. And having the magnetic mount there, I can put it somewhere, and I know it's right there because it's standing up. There's nothing else around, so if I hear something, I can just grab it and shine it around. It's nice and small too. It's pretty nice. The other benefit with this flashlight is there's a little base charger. If you have the rechargeable in there, you could just attach the base and then plug it into a battery pack. This flashlight will run while it's plugged into the battery pack. So you can run this literally all night on a pretty high level. Not turbo though, because it'll overheat and it'll just tone down, but on high, which is still pretty bright. So pretty nice. Now that I have the Nitecore NU25, which also works as it's plugged into a battery pack, and it's pretty bright, I don't know if I would continue bringing this. If I say did the AT, probably wouldn't bring this. I don't know. I have to figure out later. It's really light though. My second item I don't have with me because didn't want to do a day hike carrying it, but I brought along a 6-inch extension cord for my wall charger. The reason I did that was because I knew my wall charger was a little bigger than most people's, and I didn't want to take up more than one socket on the power strip, or if there was only a tiny space left, I could still plug in. That was my initial plan. The other benefits I found later was that if you plug it into a wall outlet, the charger itself dangles from it. But when you plug in other devices, I have little USB cables that are that big, but when you plug in other devices off the charger, they're not hanging, they're just on the ground. And I really wanted to preserve the USB ports on those devices because I didn't want to hang it like my battery charge and stuff like that. It was just, I'd rather sacrifice that 6-inch cable, which is much more rugged, so I would have taken it, than damaging the USB ports. And I carried that with me for most of the trail. Further on, I used a different wall charger, but with that wall charger, I had a 6-inch cord as well. So I kind of had it with me the entire trail. And if I was gonna hike a trail again, I would definitely bring that little 6-inch extension cord for the little wall charger. That's number 2. My third luxury item, I would say, was my towel. Offhand, I can't even remember what model it was. It was like greenish. I'm the worst, but I'll have to dig it up. But I love that thing. I did carry it with me the entire trip, but I didn't really use it that often, although I did feel like I had to bring it with me. It's very small, doesn't weigh anything. The few times I did use it was at Bernie Mountain State Park Campground. They do have showers there. So I did take a shower there, but of course there are no towels, so it's nice to have a towel. And there were times I washed my hair with a bottle of water and some soap I had. I had a little 1-ounce tube of soap, and I used that to dry my hair. And then the big time too, at Stevens Pass, I stayed at the Mountaineer Lodge. I zeroed there, and the first night when I got there, I took a shower, and they have these towels there. So I grabbed it, went to shower, and then when I was wiping my face, I noticed how bad they smelled. I don't know if they're all like that, but the one I grabbed was not good. So I just like barely dried myself, put on my clothes, and went upstairs. But then the second time I brought my towel. And I'm sure I could have used my chamois or something like that as a towel as well. But I was a real stickler with when I wanted it wet and when I needed it dry, because it had to be dry for the nighttime all the time so you can wear it to stay warm. And I didn't want it to be moist at all, because then moisture might absorb into the sleeping bag or quilt. So those are my 3 items. The towel, I don't know, it's iffy whether I would bring it again, but the extension cord as well as the flashlight, always bring again. I had that flashlight as well as a headlamp, but that flashlight is pretty nice. So those are my big 3 items. I'm supposed to tag 3 more people, but I don't know who has or who hasn't done them. I think everyone's done them. Among the backpacking channels, a lot of us all watch each other, so we've all tagged across each other. So I don't know who hasn't done one, really. I'll have to think about it. I don't know if I can tag anybody, because everyone I watch has already been tagged. I'm going to have to go check. I have to double check some channels that I'm thinking of. When I get back to my campsite for tonight where there is cell service, I'll check, and then I'll figure out who I'm going to tag, figure out whom I'm going to tag, if I will at all. I shall see. By the way, I'm at Joshua Tree National Park. I'm wearing a fleece because it is so cold sitting here. I'm taking a time lapse, and there's snow right around the corner, and over there as well. Wish me luck getting back without falling in a ravine. Yeah, Mary Mansfield, she has a great attitude. She's always really peppy. I think she's going to be a lot of fun to watch on the PCT, so definitely go check her out. It's so cold.